Hey guys, if you remember last time, our Jagocaster has a small nick I took out while I was sawing this, and there's also a spot here on this edge. I don't know if you can see that. There's a divot in there. It was in the guitar when I got it. And there are multiple ways you can take care of things like this. One of them is to try to steam that divot out of there with a wet cloth. I've seen different ways of doing this, but this part here where I took that chunk out, you can see where the neck's going to go in here. There's a nice gap there, and I need to fill that in. So I'm going to use the same method to fill that as I do to fill the divot on the side, which is going to take some of this very fine sawdust, which I collected from this actual wood from the body while I was sanding this down after making my cuts. I scraped some of this into a container, and I'm going to use some other type of tight bond. This is clear tight bond. It's called Quick and Thick. Dries really fast. It's paintable, stainable, and it dries clear. That's the difference between this and regular tight bond, which does not dry clear. It kind of dries the color that it is. And what I'm going to do is just make a little bit of a back drop for this to go in there, and just use a piece of cardstock here that I can put in here to give me a little bit of a space to work with. I'm going to take a piece of double-sided tape. Just put that on there. And I'm going to take some of this tight bond, and I'm going to use I'm just going to mix this up on a piece of paper, post-it note actually. A little bit of glue. Pinch of sawdust. Toothpick. This. In my fingers. Shove some into that spot while I'm putting some pressure on my backdrop piece. Just fill that gap in. Okay. It's going to be a little high, a little round, but we're going to sand that off. So by putting this cardstock in there, that gives me a nice flat backing to go against. And I'm going to do the same process with this little bit on the side here. Now we take this guy right here. There's our divot. Just roll some of that off. Push it in there. actually going to try to build this up a little more. Saw marks, machining marks. There we go. That's what I was going for. Kind of nice high pile, a little high all around. Okay. The thing is, I make this nice and high and I have that filled in. Once this is dry, I sand this off. This is nothing but clear glue and actual sawdust from this piece of wood. So it should match pretty cleanly. Better than the Tight Bond did with our hardtail part. Alright, that's pretty much it. I'm going to come back and take a look at it once it's dry and sand it off, and we'll see what it looks like then. Now that our sawdust glue wood putties had a chance to dry, let's see, that's the part I filled in there, and this end, and there was another little nick here. I'm going to sand this down. Unfortunately, my plan kind of backfired with the clear the clear glue darkened this sawdust and made it really dark. So I don't know exactly how that's going to turn out, but we'll start sanding and I guess we'll find out. I'm going to start with some of this 180 in my little sanding block here. See what we can. A lot of that excess just kind of rolled off of there. Okay, this is still a little high here. I've used the sandpaper for a while on this body, so I'm going to cut a new piece. Start with a fresh piece, see what that does for us. Alright, start with a new fresh piece of 180 here. Nice fresh grit on there. Probably can't see this real well, but I can see a slight discoloration where the dark spot is. That seems to be the excess. As I wear that away, the actual divot is filled in and is matching perfectly. So this may have been a success after all. Right there is where the divot was. You can see it's a little bit lighter in color, but that's pretty smooth. So my glue and sawdust worked, filled in the spot. All that excess on the top, that's what was the dark stuff. Looks pretty darn good. I'm quite happy with that. Now we have to work on this other part up here. Now for this part, up where the neck's going to attach, this has that same dark excess inside here where I'd put that piece of cardstock. I took a little bit of extra glue and rubbed it on there and just dusted some more sawdust on there. So I'm going to use some of this paper that's already got some wear on it. So I'm going to be kind of delicate about this. Because we're working on a curve here. I don't want to take too much wood off of this part in here because this neck already needs to be shimmed. And I'm not sure if I'm shimming this side yet or this side, hopefully this side. So I don't want to take too much off of this. I'm going to use some of this sharper paper though. Getting pretty smooth inside. I found sometimes it's better just to go one direction, one stroke at a time when you're doing finish work on sanding. That way you know you're not taking too much material off and gives you a little more control. Okay, this is working better with this fresh paper. You can see this excess has a tendency to roll. Get soft and roll a bit, so I have to be extra careful that I don't tear the whole thing back out, even though I don't think that's going to happen. It's a little rough. All right, I'm going to work on this off camera. Come back. All right, come pretty far here. You can see this too well, but that's pretty smooth. I'm gonna kind of leave that. And this isn't actually, of course, the neck I'm using, but if I put this in here, it's fairly flush. It's actually still a little high up here. So it's not going to hurt to take a little of this out off. This part I left a little bit on there yet because I want to see if that dark part disappears and it's replaced with a nice clear filler like the other section was. Yeah, when you're sanding finish sanding a guitar, I've noticed, at least with myself, this area tends to get neglected a bit. I'm going to really try not to do that. Since I adapted the shape of these horns, I really have been going in here and trying to get this nice and super smooth. This is an area that can easily get neglected. Of course, I'm not finish sanding right now, but you get the idea. Okay, still got a bit here. I'm using a piece of paper that I used considerably on the rest of this, so it's pretty worn down, so I'm not as concerned about going both directions. And I'm still getting some of that roll off of the excess rubbery. Almost there. I can still feel it actually through the paper. I can feel this high spot. I don't want to use the new fresh paper, it's a little too aggressive. But this stuff that's been worn down considerably and has a lot less grit on it, it's fine for this. It's a little slower, but almost there. Believe it or not, after all this, I can still feel it's rough here. Almost done. And I think you can see that, much like this part up here, which you can barely even see now, once I get all that dark excess off of there, the actual part that I wanted filled filled up nicely with the perfect color match from using the sawdust from the actual wood piece I'm working on. And that, my friends, is a beautiful repair, if I do say so myself. Not too bad. Still has that little dark spot on the inside. All right, I'm getting a little obsessive about this, but you know what? It's my guitar. Do what I want. There we go. I know that's not excruciatingly clear, but you know what? That's a nice clean repair. Yeah. All right, next video, we're going to start working on fitting the neck on here. It is loose because it's not a neck made for a Stratocaster. So there's some wobble in here, and I'm gonna have to shim it up with some veneer, and I'll show you that process in the next video. Thanks for watching. See you next time.